We've been moving away from Section 8. Section 8 used to be our bread and butter, low-income housing. I mean, that's how I started. We started in DNF properties and we filled it up with subsidized housing. The problem with Section 8 now is they make you jump through so many hoops and they add all these different roadblocks and they make you go through all these inspections and they make it so challenging just to pass the inspection now. I mean, if you don't have a skill set and understand what they're looking for, you're constantly could be in abatement. Regardless if your team is competent, regardless if they're staying on top of it, you can easily see yourself in abatement. And so because of that, people are moving away. And what we mean by abatement, they will stop paying until you make the corrections. I still see them funding Section 8. I don't see Section 8 going anywhere. Quite frankly, there's still a demand for housing for Section 8. It's just now rents are so much higher, people are moving away. So Section 8 is trying to be competitive and they're raising their rents as well. But again, if you can get that same rent with the same demand without jumping through all these hurdles, for example, it's very simple. Section 8 want to make sure the window's up and closed. If you put your plug in the outlet, it comes on. The water's running. Well, that's fine, but next thing you know, they go way out here, you got a slight crack in the sidewalk. They fine you, and then, well, you can't fix it because it's winter, and you postpone it. Next thing you know, you're in abatement. You know, so Section 8, I don't think is going anywhere, but quite frankly, I see we're going to have higher subsidies from Section 8, low-income tax credits, because rents are getting so high, they're not going to be affordable. I mean, you know, regardless how much money I make, I still look at the rents that we charge, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how people are paying this. Like, it's challenging.
Yeah, and Mike, the next question piggybacks on that point. Is from Giuseppe over there. His question is, with inflation, rents are rapidly rising. What happens when inflation starts to tame? Are rents going to come back down a little bit? And this could be for anybody and everybody up there.
Well, you got to look at history and what happened the last time we had 20% inflation. Rents have never went down, except in 2011 they went down $17 a month. The very next year, they broke through that number. Rents don't really go down. We have too much demand. We have 80 million millennials. We have 80 million Gen Z right behind them. There's not enough housing. You young people, y'all don't even go to trade school no more. Why would you? Most of the time. You sit on your computer and make money. And so how are we going to build properties? Properties cost more, supply and demand, know what your average median household income is. And instead of people spending 35% of their income on rent, now they're spending 50% in some areas. Cincinnati had a 38% rent increase last year. Rents will continue to go up in some areas if you follow the slide I did earlier. In other areas, they'll get demolished. You have to know that there's going to be demand. You got to know what those jobs look like. You got to have multiple demand drivers in case one of them skips out. But I don't think rents are going to come back down. If they do, it'll be slight. Price it in, do your homework right. Again, the slide show earlier, single family home. Me and Mike have taken home over $4,600 a month on that, on a property that we only rented out for $2,500 a month. We clearly didn't make our money off the cash flow. And so don't just count on cash flow, but I don't think rents are gonna go down.
Jurius, you self-manage your properties. You're on the front lines a lot. When you interact with your tenants about raising rent, what's their comfort level and what do you think they can handle going forward?
So when we mentioned raising rent, we sent out like a formal letter to them, let them know we're raising the rents, and we tried comparable properties in the neighborhood, like on Zillow, said that this is market rent or whatever, and then we'll match market rent. I honestly, since the pandemic, we've never raised rents. So us raising rents on these people, it's a significant increase because we're 2 years behind. And not only are we behind on raising rents, we're behind on raising rents to where they should be. So, for example, I helped Dylan get a two-family a couple streets over from a few of mine, and he was renting it. He put it up for rent. He's like, I'm gonna rent it for $13.95. I rent the same one for $10.95. I was like, dude, you're nuts. Like, there's no way. ended up getting 9 applications, rented it for $13.95, actually $14.60 because there's a pet fee, for the exact same units I was charging $1,100 for. It was, right? So it's, you just have to let them know, right? Just be transparent, say, we haven't raised your rents, this is the price, this is what things are going for in the neighborhood. And, you know, if you're unhappy, go somewhere else, right? I mean, you say it politely.
Yeah. Thank you for that. It's a great perspective.
Let me clarify something. When I said I don't think rents are gonna go down, I'm in Cincinnati. We have a shortage of 28,000 units. The cost to build, you gotta charge $2,200 for a 2-bedroom. Know your area though. There will be areas where you get overbuilt, where too many places get built, people aren't paying attention to how many new starts you got, housing starts, apartments coming online. Those areas, when you get oversaturated, they'll have to compete, they'll have too much inventory. So know your area. You know, look at your local building department, see how many permits were pulled, how many are coming online, what kind of occupancy you're running. If there's a 94% occupancy and then you got 1,000 units coming online, that's gonna take it to 85. You should know that, it's all mad.
Yeah, guys, let's take some audience questions. This is a rare opportunity with this much brain power on one stage. So we'll start right here.
And before you ask that question, some of you like, I know Nate's a human calculator, right? And he's like, you're always dropping these numbers. But look, you guys can get a feasibility report. It'll break all these different things down for you. It'll go into drive time, the census, the median income. So, and there's so many software programs now that will just spit this information out for you. So, you know, if you're not aware of that, I mean, we're here sharing it, but I don't want you to think like this information is not accessible. It's literally at your fingertips.
Thank you. Curious, when you raise the rent from your friend that just had it $13.95, yours was $1,100, did you raise it up to the $13.95?
It's a good question. I did not go that bold. I went up, I think on that one we went up to $12.95. And we took it up to $12.95, but knowing that now instead of doing like a 3-5% increase over the next few years, we'll catch up over the next 2 years. And these are good tenants that have been with us for a while, so you know, like we don't want to give it away, but we also understand raising your rent $300 a month right off the bat. It's a big jump. It's a big deal.
Jerry's has got a big heart. All right, guys, let's keep it going. Next question.
That's a nice way of saying that.
All right.
You want me to separate you two?
All right, so I am at the stage now where we are going to launch our property management company before the end of the month, and you know, really start to bring all of that stuff in-house and vertically integrate everything. Biggest piece of advice for launching the property management side and like actually launching that company. Best piece of advice for things to watch out for mistakes, so we don't make those mistakes early on.
I'll let you answer, but number one, make sure you got your accounting or your books in order. I don't care what else I don't care if you ain't got no construction guy or nothing. Make sure your books are everything. If you don't have your books in order, you ain't got your K1s, you're not getting no loans, you're not burning nothing. You ain't gonna have no balance sheet, you're gonna have a headache. Trust me, I wonder how I know all this. So if you have one thing, and then I'll say construction, but I'll let, you know, a maintenance guy, but accounting or your bookkeeper, have that in order. It will change your life. You'll be doing bigger deals faster than you can imagine if you just have that in order.
Here, and then I'm going to say something real fast. And this goes for anybody, right? Whether you're starting your own management company or you're managing 2 units. Basically, start with rules and regulations, procedures that you follow when you're brand new, even with 1 unit. Have a system. What happens if somebody wants to move out early? What happens if they lock their keys out? What happens to this? Just have a clear system in place that you follow, whether you only have 1 unit, 2 unit, or 200 units, that's duplicatable. That was really, really helpful. I did that late, and it was a mess trying to catch up.
And that's a great point. Those things get out of hand very quickly. Great point. All right, guys, come on, questions. How much cash reserves should you have?
You should have enough reserves to cover everything that's going to break over the next 5 years, 3 to 6 months worth of mortgage payments. And what I mean by that is if your furnace is 15 years old, have the money in the account ready, that thing's gonna break. The roof is 25 years old, it's gonna need replaced, have the money to replace every little thing, and then we do a quarterly meeting where we adjust our capital, our escrow account. Are we burning through this money too quick? And if we are, then we up our reserves instead of our distributions. If we are having more money in there than we think we're gonna need year 5, then we're gonna distribute a little bit more. So it's a math problem, it's just balancing it out. And then if you say, man, we had something big that took $100,000 out of this budget, not single family homes, but it took $10,000 out, single family home, it wiped out all of my stuff month 18, right? What's that gonna be? It's gonna be a foundation issue that you didn't find most of the time. It's gonna be termites that you didn't find, lead or asbestos. There are lead programs too, you can get grants. Or it's gonna be underground collapsed sewer line or earth movement. Those are the things that are gonna be unexpected. And if that happens, then you have to learn how to go and recapitalize and pull more money out.